you probably have to edit the form as well as the app or the email that is sent around to students to suit your modules. So that is what we will be exploring in this video. To edit the form, you make your way to Office 365, the Office 365 homepage for your organization, and you click on Forms. And now, if you can't find Forms here, just click on these 9 dots and then click on Forms. So here you find all the forms. For me, the form that is linked to the app is the form 5. So I'm just going to click on that. And I am just going to edit it as if I was someone else, right? As if that was someone else using it for another module. So first of all, I'll probably change the name of the form and call it Anatomy Module Peer Feedback Form. Okay, so I'll definitely keep the student's full name and the peer's details. That is absolutely crucial. I would also keep the peer's email address. I'll keep the tutor's email address as well. Actually, no, I'll remove the tutor's email address. Say, for instance, you run a module where you actually don't want tutors to receive the feedback that students send around. Just remove that. So let's remove the tutor's details. Remove section. There we go. Remove section questions. Delete question. Yes. Deleted. All right. Moving on. The feedback itself. Say, for instance, for this anatomy module, students need to communicate to patients. Then we can just edit this bit here and say communication to patients. Grades. Here we go. Let's edit this bit here. Select grade for the communication to patients. I usually provide students with a breakdown of exactly what feedback they should be giving to each other. But say, for instance, you have really good students and they don't need this breakdown, you can just remove it. There you go. Nice and neat. Okay, say for instance, for this specific criterion, you don't want students to actually provide a grade. You just want qualitative feedback. You can just remove that bit by clicking on it, and then click the delete question. There you go, it's gone. And an overall score. Again, you could just remove it if you don't want students to provide an overall score. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to keep it. And that's it. You don't even need to click save. It's already saved for you. So far as you're connected to the internet, it saves as you go. So now we've changed the name of the feedback form. What we need to do is to make sure that it is linked within the Power Automate app itself. Now, what do I mean? So what we have to do is to make our way to the Power Automate app. So to do that, you go to your Office 365 landing page, click on those 9 buttons at the top left, click on Power Automate, and it should bring you here, right, to the home page of your Power Automate. Now you want to click on My Flows, and the app that you downloaded will probably be named Students Peer-to-Peer Feedback Tool. For me, it's Student Peer-to-Peer Feedback Tool Testing. Okay, so click on it. It will bring you here where there's a description of what the tool does. You want to click on Edit. Okay, and here you get a simple breakdown of what the app does. Okay, so essentially when a new response is submitted, details are extracted from the form and an email is sent. Very important, you want to click on this one here. and you want to change the form ID. Why? Because we've changed the ID of our form. Okay, so now it's not called the form anymore. It's called Anatomy Module Peer Feedback Form. It's really important you change this. Then you go to the next step and you do the same. Anatomy Module Peer Feedback Form. All right. So you just leave response ID as is. Moving on to how the email is structured. Okay, so this is where you edit the wording within the email. First things first, you want to check if you really want the email to be sent to the person sending the feedback, the recipient of the feedback, and the facilitator. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to remove all these fields and start from a blank page. So we want this email to be, we want the responses, the feedback to be sent to the peer of the students. And by just clicking in here and just clicking on add dynamic content, okay, and it will suggest fields that you should consider putting here. So this is the field that contains the email address of the person the student is providing feedback for, and we definitely want the email to be sent to them. So we click it. Subsequently, we want the email to be sent to the person writing the feedback themselves. And so what we do is we insert a semicolon and then we click on responders email. So responders email is the email address of the person providing the feedback. And that's it. Now remember that in the actual form, we have now removed facilitator details. And so in here, we would not be able to, say to the app to send an email to the facilitator. Okay, moving on. So the subject area. This is really important. Well, because that's the first thing that the students see when they receive the email. And I've actually used it really successfully in quickly finding out from my inbox who sent what. Okay, and this is what I mean by putting in the fields here, by putting the names of the person who sent it and the person who is receiving it. By just scanning through my inbox, I can quickly see who has sent feedback and who has received feedback. Okay, obviously for most people using this app, you wouldn't want to see IHP in your subject line. So just delete that and probably put your module's name there. Okay, and the full name of the person providing the feedback field is already here, but to be complete, I'm just going to delete those and just do it again. Okay, so anatomy module, peer-to-peer feedback from person who is sending the feedback. So the dynamic content field is already suggesting things for us. So let's see what's saying. Your peer's full name? No. Your full name? Yes. To your peer's full name. And that's that. Now, in this template, the body is structured so that the feedback is delivered in a tabular format. I'm just making a broad assumption here where most people wouldn't want content in a tabular format. So I'm going to delete everything. So I'm just going to highlight everything. So I highlighted everything and I deleted everything. And you just need to click on HTML view to return it to normal view so that whatever you write is not written in HTML. Okay, so now we can just, draft a normal email which will not appear in a fancy tabular format. So you could start with dear students. If you want to be even more tailored, you can remove students And we know what the student's name is because the student submitting the feedback has told us. So we just need to find it in the dynamic content, which is your peer's full name. New line. Dear so-and-so, a colleague has provided you with some feedback on your anatomy assignment. Okay, so we can make it again more personal. Instead of a colleague, you can delete that and put the colleague's name because the student who sent the feedback has told us their name, which is your full name. So for the communication to patients criterion, they said okay, so communication to patients, there you go, done. Next up, the score provided was, there we go. Next up, so we've moved away from a tabulated, formatted email to a more classic style email. If you would like me to provide guidance to create HTML style emails where the feedback is provided in a tabular format, please do let me know. I'll be happy to help. So what you do now is, you just press save, and remember to press save or else Power Automate wouldn't save your changes. Press save. It says it's ready to go. So what we now have to do is essentially just test it, see if it works. Well, you don't have to wait for your students to test it. You can test it yourself. So you can get the link that students would get eventually by clicking on collect responses, save the link or copy the link, open another browser, paste the link in there, and press start now and just try your hands on it. So as you can see, the email is formatted, not in a tabular format. So it's all good. And if you look at the initial lines, the email is always tailored to the student receiving their feedback. So instead of dear student, it mentions the student's name, and it tells the student is told who their feedback came from because we set it up that way. I hope that was useful. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.